Okay, this chapter also talks to you about the present progressive. So I'm going to go through and talk to you about how to form it. And then a big thing that your chapter does is talk to you about when you should use it versus when you should use the present tense. So first off, the present progressive. The present progressive is formed by combining the verb to be with the present participle. Okay, and so what does that mean? Okay, so here, actually, I think I already have subject pronouns somewhere. No, I'll just do them again. Okay, so here's your subject pronouns. Yo, tú, usted, él, ella, nosotros, vosotros, ustedes, ellos, ella. So when we're using the present progressive, it tells you that you need to be plus the present participle. The to be that they're talking about is this one. You need a star, so you would use estoy, estás. And I'm going to pause and put all these up here real quick. Okay, so now I have my star up there, so you would need a form of to be because in English, just like in Spanish, you're saying I'm studying with Maria. John is eating, Mary is writing. So you can see that we're using am and we're using is and we're using are. And so that we're going to need, this is our is, am, are when we're creating the present progressive. And this will tell us, you're going to conjugate this for whoever is doing the action. And then you're going to need that plus the gerund or the present participle. And how you form the present participle is, just put that over here, present participles. If it's an AR verb, for AR verbs, okay, so to make the present participle for an AR verb, let me just make sure it's recorded. Okay, you're going to drop the AR and add ando. And so you would have the verb hablar, you take off the AR, you're left with ab, and you add ando. For ER and IR verbs, you're going to drop the ER and IR and add yendo. Comer, you drop the ER, you get com, you get comiendo. Vivir, you drop the IR, you get viv, and then you get viviendo. There are a few irregulars. There is a rule to the irregulars, but it has to do with the preterite tense, which you don't know yet. And so I'm just going to make a list of them right here for you to look at. Okay, so the rule for the irregulars is if a verb has a stem change in the preterite tense, which is one of our past tenses that we have not learned yet, then it has that same change in its participle. And so leer, seguir, pedir, oír, and dormir are all irregular in the preterite tense. They're stem changing verbs. So you may see this come up again when we do the preterite, but for now you just need to memorize leer is leyendo, seguir, siguiendo, pedir, pidiendo, oír, oyendo, and dormir, durmiendo. Okay, so let's do a little bit of practice. So if we go back over here, to form the present progressive, combine a form of a star with the present participle. So estoy hablando, that's I'm speaking. Juan está comiendo. So the participle, the thing that the person is engaged in, does not change for different subjects. It's the star that changes to let you know who it is that's doing the speaking, the eating, the writing, etc. So when you're using the present progressive, change your star to match the subject, the person who's doing the speaking, the eating, the writing, and then the actual speaking, eating, writing, you just form the present participle and you use that for everybody. And then they show you again how to change it, which I already showed you. They give you a couple of other irregulars here, pudiendo, muriendo, diciendo. So they say the present participle of IR stem changing verbs change the edi and odu in the stem and that yendo. And then they give you a few. There's more irregulars than your book gave you, but for right now, since your book just gave you These guys, we're going to focus on these irregulars, and if in class more come up, then I will talk about them as they arise. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. So let's do some practice with it. Just a little quiz. So Juan is speaking Spanish. You have to make your a star agree. And so if it's Juan, you would pick está. Yo estoy escribiendo una carta. Los niños están jugando. So you'll notice that the ando, yendo is staying the same. The participle doesn't change for a person. You're either using an ando, yendo form, but your star does change. It's está because of Juan. It's estoy because of yo. Los niños is están because of los niños. Juan y yo, this should be estamos viniendo. So here, if I want to write the participle for each of these, the participle is, remember, if it's an AR verb, I take the AR off and I add ando. For an ER verb, I take the ER off and I add yendo. That's how I'm taking this from to speak to speaking, from eat to eating, from live to living. So the same thing, vivir, you take the IR off and you add yendo. Okay, so these guys are all irregular. So I'll go ahead and give them to you. Consiguiendo. This one is pidiendo. This one's repitiendo. And this one's siguiendo. This one is sintiendo. This one's sirviendo. And viniendo. And these are cayendo, oops, creyendo, leyendo. And these are irregular, and since you haven't done the preterite yet, you just have to memorize them. And then when you get to the preterite, this will make sense, and it'll probably make it easier for you to remember what to do with your regulars. Oyendo. Okay, so we can submit our answers, but we're going to go ahead and do, okay, we got them all right. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more practice, and let's look at what your book says, actually. Okay, so your book says, the gerund is a form that normally appears with other verbs. Its most common use is in the form star plus gerund, which is used to present actions taking place at the moment of speaking. Unlike English, in Spanish, this construction can only be used to express an action currently in progress, never a future action. So the team is playing tomorrow at 7. We use that in English, but in Spanish you can't. El equipo juega mañana a las 7. So you would use future tense or present tense. We do not use the ing form, the present progressive form in Spanish. Messi is playing very well today. Messi está jugando muy bien hoy because it's happening right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the activity. Okay, so let's do this activity. Now remember, if it is, and this we'll be able to figure out when we should be using the present progressive tense and when not. So Rafael is trying to make plans with Fred, but Fred is busy. In this dialogue, some of the verbs they use are missing. Be careful as you complete it with the correct forms, because sometimes you need a star plus the gerund, which is, these are your gerunds, hablando, comiendo, viviendo, but other times you do not. So soy Rafael, ¿qué blank tú hacer? So he's saying, he answers the phone. He says, hey, it's Rafael. What are you doing? This is what are you doing right now? So we can go ahead and use the present progressive. So with that being the case, to is our subject. We need the to form of a star. So you would pick estás. And then you need the gerund form of hacer. Hacer is an ER like comer. So my first step is to get rid of the ER. And then I add IENDO, which makes it haciendo. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Yo, nada, yo. So if he says, what are you doing right now? He's saying, well, right now I'm reading. That would be present progressive. So we need the star that goes with yo, which is estoy. And then we need leer. Leer is an ER. However, it's an irregular one. There's its participle right there. So I would get rid of the ER and add YENDO instead of just an IENDO. Te llamo porque mañana estrenan la nueva película de Scorsese y quieres ir. No, mañana no puedo, because here we're talking about the future. Remember, once we go into the future, you can't use the present progressive. You have to go back to the present tense. So tomorrow I can't. I have a dinner with my family, so you would just use regular present there. And again, that's because it's in it's talking about tomorrow, which is future tense, and you're not allowed to use present progressive in the future. So no, el sábado. El sábado again is the future. Yo blank a Toronto porque, oh, so he says, I have a dinner with my family, and he's saying, what about Saturday? And this is still talking about the future because they couldn't make plans for today, so they're trying to make them in the future. So since on Saturday I'm going to be flying, I can't use the present progressive. I have to use regular present tense. And this is a stem changer. It's an O to UE. So here's my stem. I have to, since it's a stem changer and it is not nosotros or vosotros, I have to make that O a UE, and then I add the O. Oh, whoops, I'm using the wrong one. Vuelo, I added a V, sorry. Vuelo a Toronto por una semana. Puedes preguntarle a Ricardo. Okay, pero ahora, now we're back to right now. Right now, it can be present progressive, so we're saying right now he is sleeping. So we would say, for him, the estar would be está. Dormir, you get rid of the IR. The ending I'm going to add is yendo. It happens to be irregular, so I'm going to change its O to a U before I add my IENDO. Okay, and hopefully that helps explain present progressive.